Hey man, say man, you gotta do what? You gotta do what? Get them, you just out your way, fam. Man, y'all know who it is. It's your big homie. Wolf, back at it like a crack addict laid out on what? A craftmatic with what? A bad habit, man. Yeah, man, we have a special reaction today, people. I told y'all that I was gonna come back and it was gonna be a continuum of from my first video. If you haven't, please go check that out, which was the Ghetto Informant Program. And it went over there and I showed another one with another young man that was 15 years old and that ended up getting 35 years, which is very unfortunate for this young man and his young soul. And I hope that he find his way through life and he actually has better opportunities for himself once he gets out. But the chances of him being rehabilitated in a place where there's no rehabilitation and no avenues for rehabilitation is very slim. But I just hope he find it within him and himself to be able to change. But today, I wanted to take that continuum from the GIP program, which is the Ghetto Informant Program. For those that don't know what the Ghetto Informant Program is, the Ghetto Informant Program is a program that was set up basically in the time of slavery for indigenous black folks that were slaves that wanted to be free underneath the conditions that they would snitch basically on their fellow slave brothers and sisters that was planning revolts or had any plans of leaving the plantation. And yeah, they didn't get their freedom underneath. A lot of black folks that got their freedom, they didn't get their freedom under the right pretenses. Some of them got their freedom off of the back and the death of other black folks. And this has been throughout history. This program has been perpetuated. It's been something that's been perpetuated throughout time. And it has just it morphed into what we know today as the rat, the informant, the cooperator, the conspirator, you know, and they're basically just perpetuating something that was done in the time of slavery. Fun fact, there's over 188,000 paid informants in the United States of America today. That's 188,000. That was more than the informants that they had working back in the day, which was 7,000, and they disrupted a whole organization from coast to coast with just 7,000 people. So imagine what they could do with 188,000 people that's willing to sell out other people for their benefit. But today I wanted to make this continuum of a comment that was made by the one and only Mr. J. Edgar No Good Ass Hoover, right? And this comment that was made was, a lot of people thought that this comment that J. Edgar Hoover made was because of the black nationalist that was forming at the time, which it was, but it also had a hidden and an esoteric meaning to it. And that meaning and the saying that Mr. J. Edgar No Good Ass Hoover said was, there will never, and I quote, this man said, and there will never be another black messiah unless we create him, end quote. Do I need to say that again? Is that not happening today? I must repeat it for the people in the back that ain't hear me. There will never be another black Messiah unless we create him. So with that being said, right, the reason that they said this was not only because of the black nationalist movement that was going on, but also because of a man that the Vatican and a lot of other organizations of the world had ran into at the time of these movements that was going on. It was a man that was moving around and doing supernatural things that you wouldn't believe and that they couldn't believe. And the reason why this pale man decided that he wanted to say that there will never be another black Messiah, because this man Simon Toko, or if you don't know him as Simon Toko, you will know him as Simon Kimbengu. If I say that right, if I'm not slaughtering the name. That's the reason why I told you that I wanted to give you the name, because I didn't want to slaughter this man's name. I wanted to give him the just due. Because at this time of history, Mr. Simon Toko, he was performing miracles that was Christ-like. And the powers that be at that time could not believe this. And he was gathering a people, and he was becoming a black Messiah. Do you see where I'm going with this? Do you see where the coalition is? Do you see how it's mission together? Okay, now let me continue. This man was over in the Congo in Africa, and he was making a whole lot of moves, right? Because people didn't know, they knew about this man, and they brought missionaries over there, and the missionaries seen what type of movement he had. They got mad at him, and they decided they wanted to kill him. So they tried everything from chopping his body up, having his body chopped up by machinery, to having his heart taken out, to having his body parts chopped up and put in radioactive bags and shipped all across the world, only for Simon Toko to regenerate. Do you hear what I say, people? Only for Mr. Simon Toko, Simon Kimbengu, to regenerate. Full-fledged, flesh, bone, and soul human being. And they didn't want that to get out. They didn't want black people in the United States and around the world to know about this man that had these capabilities, because at the time it was a thing that was going on with the Vatican called the cabal, and these people did not want the world to know, or want black people to feel like they could achieve and get these type of abilities that Mr. Simon Toko had. So they decided that they wanted to destroy him. So what happened was the secret of the third Fatima, right? Messed around here, and they gave the Pope at the time the letter. The letter gave the Pope, gave the letter to the Pope. The Pope read the letter and passed the F out. Why, you ask me, did this Pope, this man of so high religious stature, and what he could read on a piece of paper that could make him pass out? Well, I'm gonna tell you. He read about a black man that had Christ-like abilities, and he didn't want this information to get out to black people about this black man that had Christ-like abilities. So what they ended up doing, just to see if everything was true that this man was saying, they messed around here and they cut this man's heart out, his chest, and put it right there in front of him on a silver platter. And then he got up and said, "Why are you doing this to me? Can I have my heart back, please?" Crazy. But today, we're going to take a small look into the reason why Mr. J. Edgar Hoover, the esoteric reason, the deeper reason why Mr. J. Edgar No Good at Hoover decided that he wanted to tell his constituents and tell the black folks there would never be another black messiah. It wasn't because of the black nationalists. It wasn't because of the black people that was rising up. It was because of this man, Simon Toko. And also the black nationalist movement that was moving around at the time and going around at the time. That was a continuum. And what they didn't want to happen was they didn't want that energy that Simon Toko had to match up with the energy that the black folks at the time had and what was going on in the United States, because their whole plan was to disrupt everything and to make sure that no group can build up and be strong. No black group can build up and be strong. No black group can build up strong men, women, and also the children. And then their children continue on the mission, and then you build up an army of strong men, women, black men and women that can carry on the torches of their forefathers. And this is what they didn't want, and this is what they was trying to stop. With that type of fire, with that type of ambition, and then you connect that, if you connect that ambition with the power of Simon Toko, do you understand what that could have done for black folks as a whole? If we could have established a relationship or even found out about this power that Simon Toko possessed and gathered it up and honed it in for ourselves, and then became not only strong as individuals but become strong as a people. Because this was Simon Toko was doing. He was bringing people together. There's still people that's alive today that saw the miracles of Simon Toko. So today, we're going to take a small look into the life, into the mystery, into the legend of the man Simon Toko. The man that J. Edgar Hoover made his famous quote behind and for and because of. Because see, people don't understand and they think that they know, but they have no idea until you do the research and you see the dots that's connected. And I hope that this connected a little bit more dots for you. And I hope you go ahead and go do a little bit more research. Because this man was great. He is great. He was a great example of God on earth, God made flesh. And maybe this man could be an example to you, to me, and to every positive and righteous soul that's moving around in the universe that God made for us. So, yo, without further ado, from me to you, we friends to the end, so I guess I'm going to see you at the end, my friend. Let's get it.
Simeon Toko.
Chris in Long Island, New York. Welcome to Coast. Say hi to David Wilcock.
Hey, Jimmy. Hey, Dave. How you guys doing?
Doing good, Chris.
Well, I had a question for David in terms of reading his new book, The Mysteries, which I'm very enjoying very much.
Thanks.
And one of the chapters was...
And for those that don't know what this is a radio interview of Mr. David Wilcox. And David Wilcox was a gentleman that had did extensive research on Mr. Simon Toko, or Simeon Toko, as they may call him. And he did extensive research, had people that was there that actually had firsthand counts. And basically he did this interview and he risked his life. I don't know if he's passed away, if he died or anything. Have to do my research on that. I could look that up right now and find out, but which I probably will do. But yeah, we're gonna get back to this just to let y'all know who he is and where we at right now. Hope that gave you some great insight. Now back to the story.
Nikola Tesla, the Pete Peterson and Nikola Tesla Black Ops.
Yep.
Is one of them is about Black Jesus, where there's a ascended being appearing in Africa.
Yep.
And I just want to know if you know any more information you would share with us, because I thought that was very captivating to me, and I just wanted more information on it.
Yeah. The Black
Thank you,
Jesus
Chris.
story. The Black Jesus story was probably one of the most shocking things I ever heard. It came from my insider, Jacob, I call him that in the book, who actually was working for the Rothschilds and still does, and also is a whistleblower who doesn't really do what they want but continues to work for them because he feels like there's some very serious extraterrestrial threats to Earth and that what they're doing is very necessary to protect us. So the story goes that in the 1960s, there was a black man in Africa who came in with abilities complementary to those of Jesus.
So you telling me that they said that they're doing what they're doing to protect us? From what? From protect who? Who they protecting? Black people? Because we know they ain't protecting no black people. We know that for sure. So who they protecting? Let's rewind that back. We gotta listen. I gotta hear this again. Hold up, because we know they ain't protected. They said they gotta do it. They gotta protect. And this person worked for the Rothschilds. Sheesh. That's heavy. That's heavy.
For them because he feels like there's some very serious extraterrestrial threats to Earth and that what they're doing is very necessary to protect us. So the story goes that
Extraterrestrial threats. There's some serious extraterrestrial threats on Earth that they gotta protect us from. Who is they and who is us? Because we know black people is not mentioned in that us. I'm just saying. So what you protecting? Who you protecting? Because you ain't protecting no black people. Black people is not in this protection. Let me hit that back again. Let's go back and listen to that one more again.
it was probably one of the most shocking things I ever heard. It came from my insider, Jacob, I call him that in the book, who actually was working for the Rothschilds and still does, and also is a whistleblower who doesn't really do what they want but continues to work for them because he feels like there's some very serious extraterrestrial threats to Earth and that what they're doing is very necessary to protect us. So the story goes that in the 1960s, there was a black man in Africa who came in with abilities complementary to those of Jesus. And he was performing miracles. He was starting to get people to listen to what he had to say. And the cabal tried to kill him. And, they could shoot him in the head and his skull would just regenerate and the flesh would grow back and he was fine.
All praises to the Most High that this man, Mr. David Wilcox, is still alive, people. He's still alive, people. Let's go. Let's give it up. He's still alive. All praises to the Most High that he's still alive, and I pray that he still stay alive. And because, yeah, man, he gave up this good information, man, and gave up this good facts, and didn't hide anything. Because most white people, that do historians and do historical facts, especially on black folks, they like to hide the greatness that was experienced or seen amongst blacks, or either they try to whitewash it. And I'm thankful that Mr. Wilcox actually gave us an opportunity to be able to have an opportunity just to be able to open up his mind and be able to reach in and see what he know so that we can know, you know what I mean? Because that's important, man. I couldn't even put the words to it because it's deep, man. You know what I mean? Just to know that, like the world that we was taught is a lot more cooler than what we actually thought.
And, so the crazy story that I heard, and remember, I was told at the time that if I disclosed this, that I would be killed. And I ended up putting it in the book anyway.
Just like a white dude would do anyway. Like, he didn't care. He didn't care if he died. He didn't care. And most white people don't. They don't care if they die. They like, look, like I told you before, white people don't care. They will kill themselves to get this mission done. I'm telling you.
Story was that this guy, they finally said, okay, we're going to bring you to the United Nations and share your message with the world. Let's get you on this flight. They bring him on this flight, and instead of bringing him to the United Nations, they shot him repeatedly, and then actually had some kind of meat grinder device, and basically like a bandsaw, I guess, and sawed up his body into a whole bunch of pieces.
And this picture that we looking at right here is the picture that they took of Mr. Simon Toko after they took his heart out. So he's basically standing there taking a picture right now with his heart out. Yeah.
Put him in these very like radioactive shielded containers, and then had all these fighter jets dock with the plane and fly his body parts to all corners of the world, where then these containers turned them into ash. And they thought that maybe this would defeat him, like that his body somehow, the tissue was necessary. So if they destroyed all the tissue in all these places across the world, maybe they could defeat him.
But my thing is this, if this man was not harming you in no type of way, what would make you, you gotta have a real extreme hatred in your heart to travel halfway across the world to kill this man as many times as people try, as many times as they tried to kill this man. Like, look, is it not evident? I try to not like as they say, I try to not look at white people in the wrong sense, as being a black man, because we ain't living in 2025. But then when I look back at history like this, it just keep reminding me of why I gotta tiptoe around you motherfuckers, man. I'm like, yo, for real. And it's hard, and it's like, yo, because it's like this, and then then you will start showing little like, yo, your ancestors really ain't left you too much. You might be gentrified in your ways nowadays, but you ain't too gentrified. You know what I'm saying? You be like, I deal with you, but not too much. You know what I'm saying? Crazy.
Well, he then regenerated in their offices and was fully fine, fully intact. But the sad part is that he said, you guys so badly do not want me to be here that I am not going to be able to do any more. You're going to get what you want, but bear in mind that in the future, many others like me will be coming, and when they do, you will not be able to stop us.
Black people. Did you hear that? This man literally summoned 1,000 cherubim and seraphim at his command, and they were little angels that was probably about up to hip high. They said this is what the Belgian army reported. This is not what no black people report. This is what the Belgian army. This is what the white folks reported. The white folks reported that this nigga summoned some angels from heaven that was hip high, but they was great in might and strength and speed. That's what they said, and they defeated the Belgian army. Need we say more? Need we say more? I'm just saying though. He said, "Yo, look, y'all done did me so dirty. Y'all gonna get what y'all want. All right, I'm gonna let the ghost go, cause I see that y'all want to kill me for real. I'm gonna let the ghost go, but just know that there's plenty of more of us out here, and there's plenty of more of us coming. So now what you gonna do? And these people ain't gonna be too nice." And these people ain't gonna be the ones that you gonna just gonna keep on messing around here and you ain't gonna even get this far with them. So yeah, like I said, man, we gotta start realizing what's around us and what the world hid from us. Some people probably already heard about this story, but we're gonna look at it from a real biggest point of view. and from the point of view of people that's not only separated by an ocean, but that's connected through a spirit, and that's the Most High.
Wow. Well,
that is all I know. Unfortunately,
right.
There's nothing more to the story than that.
Incredible.
But it is an incredible story.
Incredible.
It is genuinely recounted by witnesses that Simeon Toko appeared before people in an apparitional body and in dream states while he was physically alive. At least one witness who was hired to kill him said he personally killed this man, quite professionally, as a hired killer, and saw him alive again a few days later. Others still living at the time of this writing said that they saw Toko physically slaughtered and watched him bring himself back to life before their astonished eyes. There is a very large body of testimony, of which only a little has yet been recorded or written down from eyewitnesses. This is the story of the man who single-handedly gave defeat to the Belgian army.
And that's what I just was talking about. And that's what I was just talking about, how he defeated the Belgian army. You know what I'm saying? And like I told you, it's people that witnessed this. And did you hear what the man said? The man said the testimony is crazy. He said the testimony is so much. He said it's just so it's so many people that say that this has happened that you can't even dispute. You can't even dispute that it's fake. You know what I mean? So what we gonna do with this information, y'all? Like, this is the thing they tried to take away from us. They tried to stop us from believing. The only thing they wanted us to believe in was magic dragons and Santa Claus and Easter Bunny. You know what I'm saying? And Memorial Day, and 4th of July, and Labor Day, and all this crazy mess, and all this, man. And Halloween. They want us to believe in that, but they don't want you to believe that it was a man on earth that regenerated himself in front of people's faces, that was saving people, that was helping people, that was loving people, that was showing people how to love. You know what I mean? They don't want the world to know that.
The truth is stranger than fiction. The unbelievable spiritual power of one man that overcame the Belgian army. Is this a real-life African avatar? It all began because Leopold II wanted his country to join the League of European Empires, but the Belgian state refused to finance its part in Western Europe's expensive scramble for Africa, so they outsourced the task to Leopold, who used personal diplomacy to convince the European powers to grant him control of a large portion of the Congo Basin. He promised to bring civilization to the so-called Dark Continent. Christ in the Congo Free State in 1885, Leopold's playground was an astonishing 17 times the size of Belgium, comprised largely of unmapped jungle. It was initially a huge financial burden, but when worldwide demand for rubber boomed, Leopold cashed in. Congolese workers were sent out into the jungle to slash down vines and layer their bodies with rubber latex. Later, they would scrape it off their skin, often taking flesh and hair with it. Their work was labor.
Do you see how black folks could sit around here and decide that segregation is a good thing, and we don't care about segregation? Did you hear it? Who in they sane right mind comes up with an idea to send people into a jungle to get a material to put on their skin just for them to come back to camp so that they could take it off of them, pulling off flesh and hair? Like you gotta be a demonic type of person. And this ain't, and look, Shakespeare said it best, and then he put it in the Bible. The sins of the father falls upon the children, all the way down the line. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah, and then you wonder why I speak the way I speak and I say the things that I say, because black folks, yo, if you want to be separated and be separated from these bootlicking niggas and these white folks and the shit that they done did, because they'll tell you that it happened in the past, but we still have actual evidence today that this stuff is still going on in the Congo right now, King Leopold 2.025. For real. It's 2.025. That's this. So let's not forget that this is a real thing that's continuing to going on. So this thing is not something that just passed away. This is something that's been plotted and planned by these people for eons, and they went against us. They destroyed our people from not only from the east, but from the west as well. But guess what? They allowed it to happen. So you get what you get.
Labor intensive and injurious to health. The only economical way to collect it was via the forced mobilization of Congolese society. The Congo Free State evolved from a vanity possession into a slave plantation. According to History Today, Leopold's hell operated by an insane logic. Villages were set quotas of rubber, and the gendarmerie were sent in to collect it, a process that was sped up by looting, arson, and rape. If a village failed to reach its quota, hostages would be taken and shot. To ensure that the gendarmerie didn't waste their bullets hunting for food, they were required to produce the severed hands of victims. As a consequence, a trade in severed hands developed among the villagers and those police that couldn't reach their quotas.
Yo, do you see how demonic this man turned civilized people? He turned civilized people so savage that instead of getting money, because the operations was just so messed up because of the looting, the arson, and the rape that was going on, that they said, look, man, we can't even put no more money in this. Yo, we're gonna have to start selling people hands. What? You gotta use people hands as currency? And you want me to believe that you want to believe that these people with this DNA ain't demons? I'm sorry. These are not attributes of a God. These are not attributes of somebody or people that love God. I'm sorry. You can call me what you want. You can call me what you will. I don't give up. I don't care. This is pure evidence that them group of people, they don't like us, and they hate us with the 8 to the 15th to the most infinitive power. You understand? I mean, like you gotta have a real distinct hatred to do this to people that never did anything to you, that never was even thinking about you, wasn't even trying to hurt you, trying to do nothing to you, do nothing. You gotta be a real and hateful motherfucker demon, and your people and your offspring gotta be the same as their forefathers. I don't give a fuck. You got their DNA. You grew up with that mindset. Black people don't grow up with the mindset of going around the world and conquering people and destroying families and destroying villages and countries. We don't go around thinking like that. But though it's kind of ironic how everything and everybody else in the world gotta have their hand in black business. I'm just saying, indigenous folk business, African business. I'm just saying. Look at this crazy shit, man. Look at this shit, man. Sick motherfucker.
It was during this time, 33 years after the atrocity started in the Congo, that Simeon Toko was born in 1918. Simeon Toko was born on February 24, 1918, in a northern village in Angola. Not long after Simeon's birth, a missionary at a Baptist missionary society based in Angola had a dream. He dreamed that a great king had been born in the region under his ministry. He decided to go looking for this baby. In 1949, Simeon Toko asked in his public prayer that the Holy Spirit manifest in Africa to put an end to the abuses of the colonial powers. Toko became a dedicated member of the Baptist Church of Antigua. On October 1949, Simeon Toko held up both hands, spread out his fingers, and told the abusive Belgian to count them. He said, "I give 10 years to the Belgian, not one more or less, to leave this country." As for the other mysterious statement made by Simeon Toko, 10 years later in 1960, the Belgians were obliged to leave their rich colony of Congo. This incident was confirmed in Angola in 1994 by Pastor Andelino Kanhandi, who was a cook at the Kakonda agriculture compound where it happened. On January 4th, 1959, witnesses attest that many cherubim and seraphim emerged and held off Belgian colonial army. Citizens of Leopoldville saw an army of about 1,000 angels, non-terrestrials, very muscular bodies, imposing. These human-looking beings, but with supernatural powers, demonstrating an extraordinary force. For example, a witness saw one of them on the road sweeping a 5-ton truck with one hand. Belgian soldiers opened fire on these angels, but to no effect. Colonial army was in a panic and disorder. Angels disappeared as suddenly as had appeared. According to the African natives that day, Simeon Toko had unleashed his army. 4th of January is the day of celebration today in Kinshasa.
So like I said, when they said they didn't want a black messiah, this is what J. Edgar Hoover was talking about. Now do you see? You can see clearly now, the rain is gone. You can see clearly now. You can see clearly now. Can you not see clearly now? When J. Edgar Hoover said there will never be another black messiah unless we make him, he meant that. He meant that. Because when he ran into Simon, when they found out about Simon Toko, they said, oh, no, whoa, whoa, we cannot let this information get out about these riggers. And can't let no information and let these riggers start thinking that they God for real. Shout out to the 5%ers. The gods and the earths. Because they got the first layer of the black man is God. The black man is God. Black man, woman, and child is God. They got the first concept of it, but not the whole pie. Simon Toko, he had the full understanding of the black man is God. Everybody can't be God. Everybody don't have the DNA makeup of God. Do you understand? We know who has the makeup of God. Who is the most oppressed people in the four corners of this carpet that is said to be laid out by Allah? That the Muslims say in the Quran, it says this. It says that the earth is laid out. That Allah has laid out the earth like a carpet. Okay, and in the Bible it says that the earth spins like a pot on a kettle's wheel. Yeah. So that means that it's flat, baby. It's flat, baby. It's flat, baby. He said it's an expansion. I don't see no ball that's an expansion. You dig? That's all I got to say to y'all. You dig? I just want y'all to start thinking. Look. I just came to give you something to think about. Huh? Because they say that we ignorant black folk. They say we don't know shit. You know what I'm saying? That's what they say. That's what the fuck I heard. I heard that a lot. Yeah. But see, they don't want you to know about this man. See, they want you to bypass this. I guarantee you, this ain't gonna probably even get nowhere near 100 likes. This probably ain't gonna even get 100 views, and I don't care. But guess what? I don't care if it's 9 people. Guess what? This message is for you. Guess what? Then you one of the few that's chosen that need this message, and you need to go research so that you could become the next Christ-like, next God in the flesh. You dig? Black man, black woman, black child. You hear me?
A year after this extraordinary event, Congo became an independent country, for the Belgians were forced to leave their rich colonies of Congo.
Bye-bye.
Some of these attempts were witnessed by Pastor Kahandi himself. In fact, it was the outcome of one of these murders that made Pastor Kahandi a believer. Simeon Toko was incarcerated and, for the purpose of stemming his popularity and breaking his followers. After being deported and arriving in Angola, never again would Simeon Toko rest. His life would be a string of non-stop attempts to kill him to prevent his mission. Let us follow what he experienced from Leopoldville, where he was unjustly incarcerated, to Angola. While incarcerated in Angola, the Portuguese authorities deported him to the Colonato of Valle do Loje in the municipality of Bembe, northern Angola. Number 2, from Bembe to Waba Kokonda. All of these deportations took place in a 12-year period. Simeon Toko's captivity in these prisons and agricultural compounds lasted from 3 months, as at San da Bandeira, to as long as 5 years, as at Ponta Albina.
Yo, this man went from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He probably went. Yo, he probably was shipped around to at least 10 to 12 places within this time, within this 12-year period. That's a lot. That's a lot. They wanted to break this man. They wanted them white folks. They wanted to destroy that man. They wanted to do everything they can to break his spirit because they didn't like the popularity. They didn't want the message of God in the flesh, that you can be a God. Not everybody has God in them. Some people are not alive. You understand? Some people are, as they say, dead on the inside. You know? But the ones that are alive, that got God in them, and that know that they can do these type of things, they don't want you to know that you could be an X-Man. They don't want you to be an X-Man out here. They want you to be withered away. They want you to be timid, scared, always in fear, always in your lower self, always in your lower state, so that they can manipulate your higher state, your brain, into what they want you to do. But what happened when you decide that the game is over, the trick is over? You no longer, you see past the curtain. Dorothy went past the curtain, y'all. She seen who the wizard is. You dig? Let's go see the wizard. Pull that damn curtain behind him. You dig? Pull that curtain, you heard? So all I'm saying, if this man, Simon Toko, could do this, why can't we? What is stopping us from doing this? What is stopping other people? What is stopping us from being strong? Because guess what, man? We could be X-Men too. That's what they saying. That's what they saying. And basically, that's what this story just told me, is that I could be an X-Man. I could be an X-Man. You can too. That's what this story told me. And then guess what? If it couldn't have been, then it shouldn't have got out. It's out now. It's out now. And especially if y'all are watching me, it's definitely out.
Thus, when he was sent to slavery in an agricultural field in Kakonda in southern Angola, his head was offered for a price. 2 Portuguese foremen, excited by the reward, decided to take their chance. They put a plan into action to murder Simeon Toko. During a stay in Angola in 1994, we collected the testimony of Pastor Adelino Kanhandi, who was a cook at the Kakonda agriculture compound. He saw what happened. Busy with cooking, he heard a voice calling him, "Kahandi, Kahandi, come here." It was Simeon Toko. Once outside, surprised and curious, Toko told him to stand there and be watchful. Once again, the Son of Man will be tested. Strange words in particular for Kahandi, who was not then a Christian and didn't understand the term of what Simeon Toko wanted of him. Curious, he watched. One of the Portuguese foremen showed up and hailed Simeon Toko. "Hey Simeon, you see that tractor over there? There are weeds clogging the sower. Go clean them out." Submissively, the docile prisoner crawled under the engine to fix it. When he was under the engine, the foreman sitting in the driver's seat started it up, which automatically activated the rotating blades of the seat sower. Simeon Toko's body was instantly severed in several pieces. Terrified, Kinghandi stood frozen to the spot, watching. The foreman shifted into reverse to back up and check the damage. A second foreman, who was in service as a flashed a victory sign, indicating that they had succeeded. Then the unbelievable happened.
Do you see? Like, I keep going back to what I be saying, yo. It's just, the more I try to like think like, okay, do you see how more demonic this story gets every time? They literally just had this man go over there to go he said, yeah, go over there, go fix that over there, knowing that they had a plan to cut this daggone machine on, to chop this man's body into pieces for nothing. Even though they know they couldn't, they knew more than likely they couldn't kill him, but they just gonna do it just because it was a reward to do it. Yo, do you see how the white man go out of their way to destroy the black man, woman, and child for no apparent reason? This man ain't do nothing. He is in slavery and been shipped around all around Africa in slavery. And then while he in slavery, you mess around here and y'all want to mess around here and do something to try to kill him and hurt him and harm him, even though you still got him underneath this ill will and jurisdiction. So you gonna tell me, let me ask y'all a question, right? In your humane mind and body, right? Do those people that did this to Simon Toko, did they display attributes of a god or a devil?
Before Kanhandi and the two Portuguese accomplices, the body of Simeon Toko recomposed itself.
That's all I want to know.
Simeon Toko stood up. Kanhandi could not believe his eyes. The Portuguese ran away in terror. From that day on, Kanhandi believed in the Lord, and his entire family converted to the church of Simeon Toko. It was also that day that Simeon Toko made it known who he was behind that smallpox-marred face, purposefully behaving in accord with the following scripture. Jesus said unto her, I am the resurrection and the life. He that believeth in me, though he were dead, yet shall he live. In another instance, the plot was to drown him at sea. In the plane with Simeon Toko sat a Catholic priest and members of Salazar's secret police known as PIDE DGS, including the pilot and co-pilot. Their mission was to fly over the Atlantic Ocean, and after about an hour's distance, push Simeon Toko out of the plane into the deep sea. The moment the PIDE agents rose to subdue him and carry out their murder, Simeon Toko stood up and ordered the plane to stop. The aircraft stopped in midair and stood still, not advancing an inch.
Wow. And now you see why they said they did not want a black messiahs. I mean, do you need any more reason why? This is not something that's fake, y'all. This is something that these white folks documented. This is what they scared of. You want to know why white people look at black people and they be scared as hell when they see us? Simon Toko. They ain't scared of no revolutionary. They ain't scared of no Tupac. They scared of Simon. Yeah. They ain't scared of no Stokely Carmichael. They ain't scared of no Fred Hampton. They ain't scared of no Larry Davis. They ain't scared of no Larry Hoover. They ain't scared of no Jeff Fort. They ain't scared of no Tukey. They ain't scared of no Ty Rogers. They ain't scared of none of them. You know who? They ain't scared of no Huey P. They ain't scared of no Bobby Hutton. They ain't afraid of no Bobby Seals. You know who? You tell you who they afraid of? Simon Toko. Negroes. See, if they would have had the internet at that time, they would have understood better than the understanding that they had right now. At that point in time, they would have had a better understanding. The reason why this white man said that, you know what, we ain't gonna have another black messiah unless we make it. And what these motherfuckers been giving you for the past 30 years, a bunch of people that y'all praise as black messiahs that they gave you. Ooh. Man, his plan worked, didn't it? Y'all don't look at the real messiahs. They tell you, oh, your old school religious practices that your ancient people gave you, that's voodoo, that's bad. This is Satan worship. Worshiping Satan, that's what they tell you. But Jesus and Satan is the morning star at the same time. Maybe I'm tripping. Maybe I'm smoking. Maybe I'm smoking. I don't know. Ain't Jesus and Satan the morning star at the same damn time? Look, that's another subject. I would love to talk to y'all about that another day. And I'm definitely going to. I'm going to bring that up too as well. But yeah, they wasn't scared of those. See, black folks, in the 60s and 70s, if anybody run into this, just to let y'all know, if any one of y'all, let y'all know they wasn't scared of y'all. They wasn't worrying about y'all. They had y'all in the rap. They already knew how they was going to take care of y'all. They were just hoping that it wasn't a group of y'all that was going to be Simon Tokos. That's what they were scared of. They was not scared of you marching in the street with no guns. They didn't care about you talking about black power. You proud to be black. Black don't crack. And if you ain't black, you whack. They ain't care about none of that. The only thing they cared about was that not one of you motherfuckers don't turn into Simon Toko. And we got to destroy these motherfuckers because we don't know if it's more Simon Tokos or if it's just one. So we got to get them all. We got to get them out the way. And guess what they did? They got them out the way. So when you do your research and next time you come up and they say, yeah, that famous quote that come up around that time, an era around the 50s, the 60s, the 70s and all that, and they come up around that time and they say, yeah, and you hear that J. Edgar Hoover, that comment, and he said, there would never be another black messiah, start thinking about Mr. Simon Toko. Okay? Don't think about none of the black movements or none of that. That was just the foundation that they were scared of, because that was the catapult to be able. They was like, look, we cannot have Simon Toko with this kind of fire going on behind him, because if he performing miracles, and then on top of that, you got black people that's willing and ready to fight for their freedom right now, and on top of that, you got some nigga that's walking around here regenerating and healing people and all of that. And you mix that type of power with the fire and desire that the people had to have freedom in the 60s and 70s. Man, could you imagine a dude like Simon Toko mixed in with that climate at that time? Man, imagine. And they were scared. I mean, they were scared. If you go look at it, they were scared. They thought that Malcolm X was a Simon Toko. That's why they got at him. They thought that Martin Luther King was a Simon Toko. They thought that Stokely Carmichael was a Simon Toko. Huh? If you go read them files, man, I read them. They got them right there. It's right there. They wanted them dudes here. They said no. We think that he might be one of them. We think that he might be a Simon Toko. We just got to make sure that we can't have this no more. We can't have these motherfuckers stopping our planes and stopping us from shooting them in the street and killing them. We can't have them do that. No, because if they find out how to be a Simon Toko, we can't find nothing that's gonna stop that. So yeah, get it together, people, man. For real, yo.
Nor rose or fell backward. The crew was stricken by panic. The priest could hardly breathe, and hoarsely huffed out desperate prayers. Simeon lifted his eyes and hands toward the heaven, and after a short prayer, he ordered the plane to move again. At once, the plane started moving. Another story refers to a most remarkable attempt by some astonishingly misguided men to kill Simeon. Tools under dictator Antonio Salazar's orders. Some doctors found themselves reading the reports of his purported invincibility. They thought they might pass the time by drilling for the secret, which seemed to protect the mysterious African man. They meant to perform an autopsy on a living human being, under the pretext of removing a tumor in his chest.
Like I said, do you see how the rabbit hole keep going deeper with this demonic activity that these motherfuckers keep doing? These is your great-great-granddaddies. I don't give a fuck. Yo, if your great-great-granddaddy killed my great-great-granddaddy, that's still blood beef in my eyes. Maybe y'all don't carry beef along like that, but we do. That's blood beef. That's beef forever. That's forever, ever beef. What? Hey, yo, these white folks, these damn Europeans messed around here just like they do with most of you niggas that sit around here and you get these daggone European doctors and they tell you, yeah, yo, you got cancer. You ain't got nothing. You start getting sick because they tell you sick. And then they mess around here and say, yeah, we gotta go in there and go get we gotta get a tumor out of you. Yeah, we gotta get that cancer out of you. And you ain't never even had cancer. Do you understand? Yo, it's plenty of joints out there, and if I'm lying, I'm flying. Right? Because guess what? It's all over TikTok. I just ran across that joint the other day, probably like about a week or so ago, about them talking about how doctors is misdiagnosing black people just so that they could do surgeries on them, or just so that they can inject in them, just so they can see how medicines work, or see if they can inject them with a disease. Yeah, so you better be careful. Just like they tried to mess around here and go up underneath the pretenses of having a tumor in your chest, or Simon Toko had a tumor in his chest, yeah, they'll do the same thing to you too. Black man, black woman, black child, you better take care of yourself. This is just eye openers that I'm giving y'all right here. Cause just like they'll do him like that and say, oh, he got a tumor, we just want to cut his heart open because we want to see if this bigger, just so we can see if he'll regenerate, we going to say that he got a tumor in his chest and we going to cut his heart out. Now tell me, once again, I'm going to ask you a question. Are those the attributes of God or the devil? That don't seem like godly behavior to me. That seemed like a lot of demonic, devilish behavior, and that came from them pens, man. That came. This ain't no story about no black folks doing this to no white man. This is a story, and this is one of a gazillion stories of white folks doing this to a black man. For real.
The doctors had Simeon Toko taken to a hospital. They put him on an operating table, cut a jagged mortal wound in the left side of the center of his chest, reached into his chest cavity, and pulled out his still beating heart. The aorta and other arteries were severed by scalpel, and his heart was removed. Simeon lay dead, his body covered with warm blood that splashed out of his heart and chest. Simeon Toko came to on the operating table. To their horror and bewilderment, his heartless corpse was moving on its own volition. He opened his eyes, sat up, and looked at them, the chest wound by which they had casually murdered him gaping open. "Why are you persecuting me this way?" he said to them. "Give me my heart back." Simeon Toko, showing the big scar where he was operated on by his killers, who took out his heart, he woke up without a heart, stood up, and asked for his heart back. During the night of December 31st to January 1st, 1984, when the media announced the death of Simeon Toko, thunderclaps of virtually seismic force and torrential rain burst the skies of Luanda. It had not rained in this area for several years. Meteorologists were mystified. For 3 days the rain fell continuously. The occurrence of this event was attributed to all the rumors surrounding the death of this great prophet. If men only knew what eternity is, they would do everything in their power to change their lives.
Yeah, man. And this is where the bus stops. You dig? And I'm very, very thankful that y'all came with me on this journey. I know it's about an hour long, and I had to put my little commentary in there. I had to break it up like that, you know what I mean? Because for fair use. And I'm just thankful that y'all just came here to get this information with me, and got this great information with this great gentleman right here, Simon Toko. I hope that he's an inspiration to you. I hope that he's a light, and also I hope that he helps you go find yourself a deeper connection to God, and a deeper connection to who you are and the God that's living inside of you. And stop looking for external forces and start looking for the God that's inside of you, and have an understanding that God lives in you and he is a part of you, just as you are a part of him. And I would like to thank you for coming on this journey with me today. And I hope I did my job, and I hope I did a great one. And I hope I'll be able to see you guys again So I see you on the next go around. Always remember, respect, love, and loyalty at all times. Peace.